asks, what is the flaw in the design of this system that is producing this unwanted result? The undisciplined person tries to use shame and willpower to fight their bad habits. The architect uses curiosity and systems thinking to redesign the environment and the triggers that are causing the bad habit in the first place. As you work through this roadmap, this new identity must be your North Star. You're not a flawed person. You are a competent, logical programmer, and your life is an open source project. You have the power to go into the code, to deconstruct the loops, and to re-engineer the entire operating system. Case file 02. The habit loop. A jargon-free blueprint of the cue, craving, response, and reward. You are a software engineer, and your habits are your programs. To re-engineer a program, you must first understand its architecture. All habits are built on the same, simple, four-step neurological blueprint. This is the habit loop. The amateur, in their quest to change, focuses only on the habit itself. This is like trying to fix a broken car by just pushing it harder. The architect knows that the habit itself is just one small part of a larger, interconnected system. To truly change a behavior, you must deconstruct and re-engineer the entire loop. The 4 stages of the habit loop. Stage 1. The cue, the trigger, the definition. The cue is the trigger that initiates the habit. The psychology. Your brain is constantly scanning your environment for cues that signal a potential reward. The examples. The ringing of your phone, the smell of coffee, waking up in the morning. Stage 2. The craving, the motivation, the definition. The craving is the motivational force behind every habit. It is not the habit itself that you crave, but the change in state that it delivers. The psychology. The cue is meaningless until it is interpreted. The craving is the meaning your brain assigns to the cue. The examples. You don't crave smoking. You crave relief from stress. You don't crave scrolling Instagram. You crave relief from boredom. Stage 3. The response, the habit. The definition. The response is the actual habit you perform. The psychology. The response only occurs if you have the ability and the motivation to perform it. The examples. Lighting a cigarette, opening Instagram, brushing your teeth. Stage 4. The reward, the payoff. The definition. The reward is the end goal of every habit. It is the satisfying payoff that resolves the craving. The psychology. The reward has 2 purposes. It satisfies you, and it teaches your brain that this loop is worth remembering. The examples. The feeling of relief from nicotine, the distraction from boredom, the clean feeling in your mouth. The how-to blueprint. The for laws, this 4-stage loop gives us a simple, powerful blueprint for behavioral change. To build a good habit. 1. Cue. Make it obvious. 2. Craving. Make it attractive. 3. Response. Make it easy. 4. Reward. Make it satisfying. Break a bad habit. You must invert these laws. 1. Cue. Make it invisible. 2. Craving. Make it unattractive. 3. Response. Make it difficult. 4. Reward. Make it unsatisfying. This simple architectural framework is the entire foundation of this roadmap. Every single tactic and technique we will discuss is a direct application of one of these 4 laws. Case file 03. The 2-minute rule. The unbreakable law of making new habits effortless. You want to start a new, ambitious habit. You want to read more, get in shape, or write a book. The amateur, full of motivation, makes a classic mistake. They start too big. They commit to reading for 1 hour every night. They commit to going to the gym for 90 minutes, 5 days a week. This is a recipe for failure. Why? Because it violates the 3rd law of behavior change. Make it easy. A 90-minute gym session is a high-friction task. The first day you're tired or busy, you will fail. The architect of habits knows a profound secret. When you're starting a new habit, the goal is not to achieve a massive result on day 1. The goal is to master the art of showing up. You must first make the habit a non-negotiable part of your identity before you can worry about optimizing it. The 2-minute rule blueprint. The rule. When you start a new habit, it should take less than 2 minutes to do. The rationale. This is a direct application of the make it easy law. A 2-minute habit is so small and low friction that it is almost impossible for your brain to say no to it. It is a gateway habit, deconstructing your goals into 2-minute versions. Your goal: read every day. Your 2-minute habit: read 1 page. Your goal: do yoga 3 times a week. Your 2-minute habit: take out my yoga mat. Your goal: run 3 miles. Your 2-minute habit: put on my running shoes. Your goal: write a book. Your 2-minute habit: open my document and write 1 sentence. The gateway psychology. This may seem ridiculously simple, but it is a masterpiece of behavioral architecture. 1. It defeats procrastination. The rule is not run 3 miles. The rule is just put on your running shoes. 2. It builds the identity first. The goal is not to run a marathon. The goal is to become the kind of person who never misses a workout. 3. It leverages the physics of motivation. Motivation is the result of action, not the cause. Once you have put on your running shoes, the likelihood that you will actually go for a run is dramatically higher. You will first master the 2-minute version of your habit. Once that has become an ingrained part of your routine, you can then begin to slowly optimize it. This is the unbreakable law of making new habits stick. Case File 04. The environment mandate. How to design a space that makes good habits inevitable. You are trying to build a new habit, like eating healthier. You have a surge of motivation. You stock your fridge with fresh vegetables. But on your kitchen counter, in a clear glass cookie jar, sits a delicious-looking pile of chocolate chip cookies. Every single time you walk into your kitchen, your eyes are drawn to that cookie jar. The visual cue is powerful. It triggers a craving. For the first few days, you use your willpower to resist. But willpower is a finite battery. By Wednesday afternoon, when you are tired and stressed, your willpower battery is depleted. You give in. The amateur habit builder believes that their success is a function of their internal mental discipline. The architect of habits knows a more profound truth. Your environment is more powerful than your willpower. The person with good habits has architected an environment that makes their desired behaviors the path of least resistance. This is a direct application of the first law of behavior change. Make the cue obvious for good habits, and make it invisible for bad habits. The environment design blueprint, strategy 1. Make good habits obvious. The goal: to saturate your environment with visual cues that trigger your desired behaviors. The architecture. Want to practice guitar more? Don't keep it in the closet. Put on a stand in the middle of your living room. Want to read more? Place the book on your pillow in the morning. Want to drink more water? Fill up a large water bottle and place it in your line of sight on your desk. Strategy 2. Make bad habits invisible. The goal: to systematically remove the environmental triggers that launch your bad habits. The architecture. Trying to eat healthier? Perform a pantry purge. The cookie jar will be removed. Trying to watch less TV? Take the TV out of your bedroom. Unplug it and put the remote in a drawer in another room. Trying to check your phone less? When you're doing deep work, your phone will be in another room on silent. This is a simple but profound architectural shift. You're moving from strategy of resistance to a strategy of removal. You're no longer the hero, bravely fighting your urges. You're the clever architect who has designed a fortress where the temptations cannot even get inside. Part 2. The Deconstruction Protocol. Breaking Bad Habits Case File 05. The Friction Blueprint. A system for making bad habits difficult and annoying. You have successfully made the cues for your bad habits invisible. This is a powerful first-line defense. But some cues are internal or impossible to completely remove. Now, we must attack the response stage of the habit loop. The amateur, when trying to break a bad habit, relies on a simple idea: just don't do it. The architect knows that a habit is an automated, low-energy pathway in the brain. To break it, you must deliberately and systematically make that pathway more difficult to travel. You will use the inversion of the third law of behavior change. Make it difficult. This is the friction blueprint. Friction is any obstacle that you deliberately place between yourself and your bad habit. Your goal is to make your undesired behavior so annoying and inconvenient that the path of least resistance is to simply not do it. The friction architecture. Strategy 1. Increase the number of steps. The bad habit. Mindlessly scrolling social media on your phone. The current state, low friction. The app is on your home screen. It takes one tap and 1 second to start. The high friction architecture. 1. You will log out of the social media app after every single use. 2. You will delete the app from your phone. The only way to access it is to go to your phone's web browser, type in the URL, and then re-enter your username and a very long, complex password. The result? You have just transformed a one-step habit into a multi-step habit. This small amount of friction is often enough to make your brain decide the reward is not worth the effort. Strategy 2. The commitment device. The concept: a commitment device is a choice you make in the present that locks you into a better behavior in the future. The bad habit: hitting the snooze button every morning. The high-friction architecture: you will place your alarm clock on the other side of the room. The only way to turn it off is to physically get out of your warm, comfortable bed. Another example: productivity. Use a website blocking app to block all of your distracting websites for a pre-scheduled block of time. Strategy 3. The change of environment. The bad habit: binge watching Netflix on the couch every night. The high-friction architecture: you'll unplug the television and put it in a closet for 1 month. The rationale: this is an extreme but incredibly effective move. It completely removes the option from your environment. By systematically and creatively adding friction to your bad habits, you are architecting an environment where they are a hassle to perform. You are using your own natural desire for the path of least resistance as a weapon against your worst impulses. Case File 06. The trigger audit. How to identify and eliminate the cues that initiate your vices. You are on a mission to break a bad habit. You have successfully made the habit more difficult to perform, but you find that the craving for the habit is still incredibly powerful. The architect knows that the craving is not a random event. The craving is always, without exception, triggered by a cue. If you can identify the specific trigger that initiates the entire habit loop, you can perform a surgical strike. You can eliminate the cue, and the entire chain of craving and response will never have a chance to begin. Your mission is to become a detective of your own behavior. You must conduct a trigger audit. The trigger audit blueprint. For 1 week, you will keep a simple habit journal. Every single time you perform your bad habit, you will immediately open your journal and answer 4 simple questions. All cues fall into one of these 4 categories. The 4 categories of cues: the time cue. The question to answer: what time is it? The rationale: many habits are tied to a specific time of day. The location cue. The question to answer: where am I? The rationale: your environment is the most powerful source of cues. The preceding event cue. The question to answer: what did I just do? The rationale: one habit often acts as the trigger for the next. Finishing a stressful meeting is the cue that triggers the habit of go for a cigarette. The emotional state cue. The question to answer: how am I feeling right now? The rationale: this is the most subtle and often the most powerful category of cues. Are you feeling stressed, anxious, bored, lonely? The deconstruction and removal protocol. After your 1-week audit, you will review your journal. You will have a powerful, data-driven picture of your own behavior. You will see a clear pattern. You will know your primary trigger. The pattern: I have discovered that I almost exclusively crave a cigarette at 10:30 a.m. time, right after my stressful morning team meeting, preceding event, when I'm feeling overwhelmed emotional state. Now that you have identified the cue, your architectural mission is to eliminate it. The solution: you cannot eliminate the meeting or the feeling of stress, but you can change the environment. You can architect a new post-meeting ritual. By performing this systematic trigger audit, you are moving beyond just fighting the habit. You are performing a surgical strike on the root cause of the habit. Case File 07. The pattern interrupt. A playbook for replacing a bad response with a better one. You have done your trigger audit. You have identified the cue that launches your bad habit. But some cues are impossible to eliminate. You cannot eliminate the feeling of stress at the end of a long workday. In these moments, the craving will arise. The amateur, when the craving hits, tries to use willpower to simply resist it. The architect knows that you cannot just eliminate a bad habit. You must replace it. Your brain has a deeply carved neural pathway. The secret is not to try and block this pathway, but to reroute it. You will keep the same cue and the same reward, but you will architect a new, better response in the middle. This is the pattern interrupt. The habit replacement blueprint. Step 1. The reward diagnosis. The mandate. You must first identify the true reward that your bad habit is delivering. The experiment protocol. The next time you feel the craving, you will experiment with a different response and see if it satisfies the craving. The bad habit. Go to the break room to get a sugary donut at 3 p.m. every day. The question, what reward am I really seeking? Am I craving sugar, a break from monotony, or social connection? The experiment. On Monday, try an apple. On Tuesday, try a 5-minute walk. On Wednesday, try a 5-minute chat with a coworker. Observe which response most effectively satisfies the underlying craving. Step 2. The pattern interrupt architecture. Let's say your experiment revealed that the true reward you were seeking was a simple break from monotony. You will now architect a new, positive habit to replace the old one. The old software, cue, 3 p.m. bored. Craving, I need a break. Response, eat a donut. Reward, a break. The new software, cue, 3 p.m. bored. Craving, I need a break. Response, go for a 5-minute walk. Reward, a refreshing break. Step 3. The implementation intention. You must now write down your new program in a simple, clear statement. The formula. When cue happens, I will new response. The written mandate. You will write it down. When it is 3 p.m. and I'm feeling bored, I will immediately get up and go for a 5-minute walk outside. By architecting this pattern interrupt system, you're no longer just a victim of your cravings. You're a programmer. You are systematically rewiring your own brain for success. Case file 08. The identity shift. How to stop being a smoker and start being a non-smoker. You are now armed with a powerful toolkit for deconstructing your bad habits. But there's one final, deep, and often invisible layer of the architecture that you must address. It is your identity that a habit that is tied to your sense of self is almost impossible to break. As long as you still see yourself as a smoker, you will always be fighting an uphill battle. The amateur tries to change their actions while clinging to their old identity. The architect knows that the ultimate form of behavioral change is identity change. Your goal is not to be a smoker who is trying to quit. Your goal is to become a non-smoker. This is a profound shift, the identity-based habit blueprint. Most people approach habit change from the outside in. They try to change outcomes, then processes, and hope it changes their identity. The architect inverts this model. True change works from the inside out. 1. Decide on the identity you want. 2. Install the processes aligned with that identity. 3. The outcomes will be the natural result. Step 1. Decide who you want to be. You will not start with the goal. I want to write a book. You will start with the identity. I am a writer. The power. You will now ask yourself every day, what would a writer do? Step 2. Prove it to yourself with small wins. Your identity is the sum of your actions. Every action you take is a vote for the type of person you want to become. The voting protocol. Every time you write one sentence, you're casting a vote for, I am a writer. Every time you put on your running shoes, you're casting a vote for, I am a runner. In the beginning, you'll not have much evidence for your new identity. But with each small daily action, you're slowly building a powerful, undeniable case. Step 3. The pride reinforcement. The goal is to take pride in your new identity. The old script, I need to go to the gym. The new script, I get to go to the gym. I'm the kind of person who never misses a workout. The language shift. When someone offers you a cigarette, you will not say, no thanks, I'm trying to quit. You will say, no thanks, I'm not a smoker. This is the final and most powerful layer of deconstructing your bad habits. By shifting your focus from the behavior you're trying to change to the identity you're trying to build, you're aligning your actions with your sense of self. Part 3. The Engineering Protocol. Building Good Habits Case File 09. The Habit Stacking Engine. The art of linking a new habit to an existing one. You are now ready to move from deconstruction to construction. You are ready to engineer new, positive habits into your life. The amateur tries to graft a new habit onto their day at a random, arbitrary time. They say, I will start meditating for 10 minutes every day, but they have no specific plan. The architect of habits knows that the most effective way to install a new piece of software is to link it to a program that is already running reliably. The most powerful way to build a new habit is to stack it on top of a current, deeply ingrained habit. This is the art of habit stacking. The habit stacking blueprint. This is a direct application of the first law of behavior change. Make the cue obvious. Instead of waiting for a random cue to remind you to do your new habit, you will use the completion of a current habit as the trigger for the new one. The implementation intention formula. Advanced version. The formula for a habit stack is a simple, powerful implementation intention. The formula: after I current habit, I will new habit. The deconstruction of your daily routine. Your first step is to become a detective of your own current daily routine. You will create a habit scorecard. The action: you'll take a piece of paper and list out every single automatic, non-negotiable habit you already perform. Example: morning routine 1. Wake up. 2. Make the bed. 3. Brush my teeth. 4. Make a cup of coffee. 5. Sit down at the kitchen table. The rationale: this list is a goldmine. It is a menu of powerful, reliable cues that are already built into your day. The stacking architecture. Now, you will take the new 2-minute version of the habit you want to build, and you will surgically insert it into this existing routine. The new habit: meditate for 1 minute. The architectural choice: you will look at your habit scorecard and find the perfect, logical insertion point. The moment after you make a cup of coffee and before you sit down is a perfect moment. The new written protocol: after I pour my morning cup of coffee, I will sit down and meditate for 1 minute. The power of habit stacking is that it leverages the momentum of your existing automated behaviors to launch your new desired behaviors. The new habit is no longer an isolated, easily forgotten task. It is a single new link in a pre-existing, unbreakable chain. Case File 10. The Temptation Bundling Technique. How to pair a want with a should. You're trying to build a new habit that is good for you, but is not inherently enjoyable. You should exercise. You should process your work emails. The amateur relies on discipline and willpower to push through the unpleasant task. The architect of habits knows that there's a more clever and more sustainable way. You can systematically re-engineer the habit itself to make it more attractive and more immediately rewarding. This is a direct application of the second law of behavior change. Make it attractive. The technique is called temptation bundling. It is a powerful strategy where you bundle a behavior that you want to do with a behavior that you should do. The temptation bundling blueprint. Step 1. The 2-list protocol. The action: you will take out a piece of paper and create 2 lists. List 1. The wants, your guilty pleasures. Examples: watching your favorite show on Netflix, listening to an interesting podcast, scrolling through social media. List 2. The shoulds, your productive habits. Examples: exercising on a stationary bike, processing your work email, doing the laundry. Step 2. The bundling protocol. You will now architect a new rule for yourself that links one item from your wants list to one item from your shoulds list. The only if formula: I'm only allowed to do the thing I want if I am simultaneously doing the thing I should. The blueprint in action. The bundle: watching Netflix plus exercising on the stationary bike. The new rule: I am only allowed to watch my favorite Netflix show while I am on the stationary bike. The result: you have now transformed the act of exercising from a boring chore into an exciting opportunity. The bundle: listening to your favorite podcast plus folding the laundry. The new rule: I am only allowed to listen to my true crime podcast while I'm folding the laundry. The super stack. The advanced move: you can make this even more powerful by combining it with the habit stacking protocol. The super stack formula: 1. After I current habit. 2. I will habit I should do. 3. While I habit I want to do. The example. After I get home from work, I will immediately change into my workout clothes, and then I will ride the stationary bike for 30 minutes while I watch one episode of The Crown. By architecting these temptation bundles, you are hacking your own brain's reward system. You are engineering a situation where the craving for your want habit becomes the very force that pulls you toward your should habit. Case File 11. The visual progress mandate. Using habit trackers to gamify your growth, you are building a new habit. You're showing up every day. You're making small, incremental progress. But some days it feels like a grind. The final, distant reward can feel so far away that it is hard to stay motivated. The architect knows that the human brain is a reward-seeking machine, and that it is powerfully motivated by clear, immediate, and visual evidence of progress. This is a direct application of the fourth law of behavior change. Make it satisfying. You must architect a system that provides a small, satisfying reward for performing your good habit. The simplest and most powerful system for this is the habit tracker. The gamification blueprint. A habit tracker is any tool that allows you to visually measure and record your habit streak. It is the architectural act of turning your personal development into a game. The paperclip strategy. The goal: to provide a simple, tangible sense of progress. The architecture: you will get 2 empty jars. In the first jar, you will place a number of paper clips that corresponds to the number of times you want to perform an action. For example, 25 paper clips for 25 sales calls. Every time you complete a call, you'll physically move 1 paper clip from the to-do jar to the done jar. The rationale: this simple, physical action is incredibly satisfying. The marble strategy. The goal: to visualize the compounding nature of your small, daily efforts. The architecture: you'll have 2 jars, a potential jar full of marbles and an empty progress jar. The protocol: every day that you successfully perform your new habit, you will move 1 marble from potential to progress. The rationale: over the weeks and months, you will have a powerful, visceral representation of how your small, consistent efforts are compounding. The habit tracker app. The tool: a simple app like Streaks or Done. The architecture: these apps are digital versions of the don't break the chain method. You will list your key daily habits, and every day you complete one, you will tap a button to fill in the circle. The gamification advantage. These apps are designed to be satisfying, with pleasing sounds and animations. The unbreakable law of habit tracking. You will track the process, not the outcome. The flawed approach. Your goal is not to track your weight on the scale every day. The architectural approach. Your goal is to track whether or not you showed up and did your workout. You cannot always control the outcome, but you can always control your effort. By making the satisfying act of checking the box your primary reward, you're falling in love with the process. Case File 12. The never miss twice rule. The simple system for getting back on track after a failure is inevitable. You will have a bad day. You will be sick, you will be traveling, or you will be overwhelmed. You will break the chain. This is a moment of critical danger. The amateur habit builder falls victim to the all or nothing mindset. The saboteur whispers, "See, you failed. Might as well just give up completely." The architect of habits does not expect to be perfect. They expect to be resilient. They know that the difference between a professional and an amateur is that the professional gets back on track quickly. The never miss twice blueprint. The rule is simple, elegant, and the single most important architectural principle for long-term success. The rule: you can miss 1 day. Life happens, but you will never, ever, under any circumstances, miss 2 days in a row. The rationale: missing once is an accident. Missing twice is the beginning of a new habit. The Get Back on Track protocol. Step 1. The self-compassion mandate. The mandate: the moment you realize you have missed a day, you will not engage in self-criticism. The reframe: you will say to yourself, "Okay, I missed a day. That's part of the process." The goal is not perfection. The goal is consistency. Tomorrow, I get back on track. Step 2. The minimum viable effort restart. The mandate: the next day, after you have missed, you will not try to be a hero. Your one and only goal is to get the chain started again. The action: you will perform the absolute smallest version of your habit. You will do your 2-minute version. You will read 1 page. You will do 1 push-up. The rationale: the goal is not the workout. The goal is to get the X back on the calendar. The architectural insight: a single mistake does not ruin you. It is the downward spiral of repeated mistakes that is the real danger. The never miss twice rule is a powerful architectural circuit breaker. Is the key to long-term success. Part 4. The Automatic Success Engine Case, File 13. The Keystone Habit Project. Identifying the one habit that changes everything. You are now a habit architect. You have a full toolkit of protocols for deconstructing the bad and for engineering the good. You are ready to start building. But where do you begin? You may have a dozen different habits you want to change. The amateur, in a burst of New Year's resolution energy, tries to change everything at once. This is a recipe for a spectacular, system-wide collapse. The architect knows that not all habits are created equal. There is a special class of habits, known as keystone habits. A keystone habit is a single, core habit that, when you install it, creates a positive, cascading chain reaction that spills over and improves every other area of your life. Think of the keystone in a stone arch. It is the central stone at the very top that holds all the other stones in place. Your job as a habit architect is not to try and build the entire arch at once. Your job is to identify and install your single, most powerful keystone habit, the Keystone Habit Blueprint. How to identify your keystone habit. A keystone habit is a small win that provides a sense of control and creates a cascading series of other positive choices. For most people, their personal keystone habit will be found in one of these 3 categories: a physical movement habit, the most common. The habit: a simple, consistent exercise routine. The cascading effect: the person who starts their day with exercise is, without even consciously trying, more likely to eat a healthier breakfast, have more energy at work, feel less stressed, and sleep better at night. A financial habit. The habit: the simple act of tracking your daily spending, or the automated habit of paying yourself first. The cascading effect: the person who becomes conscious of where their money is going is naturally more likely to spend less on frivolous things and look for ways to increase their income. A mindfulness or planning habit. The habit: a 5-minute daily meditation practice, or the simple act of writing down your one thing for the day ahead. The cascading effect: the person who starts their day with a moment of calm and clarity is more likely to be less reactive to stress and procrastinate less. The one thing mandate. Your mission for this chapter is to identify your own personal keystone habit. The action: look at the 3 categories above. Which one of these, if you were to master it, would have the single biggest positive ripple effect across the rest of your life? The commitment: you will now make this one single habit your entire focus for the next 30 to 60 days. You will bring the full force of your architectural toolkit to bear on this one single, high-leverage target. Why identifying and installing your keystone habit? You're laying the architectural foundation that will make all your other desired habits easier to build in the future. Case File 14. The Habit Review. A monthly protocol for auditing and optimizing your systems. You are now an architect of habits. You have a system for deconstructing the bad and for engineering the good. You have installed your first powerful keystone habit. But a system that is not reviewed is a system that will inevitably decay. The amateur habit builder, once they have achieved some initial success, stops paying attention. They put their habits on autopilot and assume they will run perfectly forever. The architect knows that any high-performance system requires regular maintenance and optimization. You must periodically step back and make the small, intelligent tweaks that will keep it running at peak performance. This is the Habit Review, the monthly review blueprint. The Habit Review is a simple, 30-minute ritual that you will schedule into your calendar for the last Sunday of every single month. It is your personal board meeting with yourself as the CEO of your life. It has 3 simple parts. Part 1, the data review. The goal: to get an objective, data-driven look at your performance over the last month. The action: you will take out your habit tracker. The honest audit questions: what was my consistency score for my keystone habit this month? Where did I succeed? What were the patterns on the days that I won? Where did I fail? What were the patterns on the days that I missed? Part 2. The system review. The goal: to diagnose the why behind the data. You're not judging your character. You are auditing your system. The architectural questions: what's working well? What should I continue doing? Where is the friction? What should I stop doing or change? What is a new experiment I could try next month? Part 3. The identity review. The goal: to reflect on your progress and to consciously reinforce your new, desired identity. The vote counting protocol. You will look at your habit tracker. I cast 25 votes this month for my identity as a runner. You will ask yourself, am I becoming the person I want to be? The next level question: now that I have successfully installed my keystone habit, what is the next small habit I want to begin architecting? This simple, 30-minute monthly ritual is the key to long-term, sustainable growth. It is the architectural process that allows you to celebrate your progress, diagnose the flaws in your system, and systematically iterate and improve. This is the work that ensures your good habits don't just last for a month, but for a lifetime. Case File 15. The long game. From conscious effort to unconscious competence, you are now at the final stage of your journey as a habit architect. You have the full end-to-end system. In the beginning, this will all feel like a lot of conscious effort. You will be a novice driver, consciously and clumsily thinking about every single move. But with consistent repetition, a magical and scientifically predictable transformation will occur. The habit will begin to move from the conscious, effortful part of your brain to the deep, automated, and effortless part of your brain. The neural pathway for the habit will become thicker, stronger, and more myelinated. This is the journey through the 4 stages of competence, the 4 stages of skill acquisition. Stage 1, unconscious incompetence. The state: you don't know what you don't know. Your experience: this is where you were before you started this roadmap. Stage 2, conscious incompetence. The state: you now know what you don't know. Your experience: this is the stage of awareness. You have now learned the blueprints of a good habit. Stage 3, conscious competence. The state: you can do it, but you have to think about it. Your experience: this is where you are right now. You are actively and consciously applying the frameworks from this book. You can perform a skill, but it requires your full attention and effort. Stage 4, unconscious competence. The state: you can do it without thinking about it. Your experience: this is the final and most rewarding destination. After months of consistent, deliberate practice, the habit has become so deeply ingrained that it is now automatic. You no longer have to decide to go for a run in the morning. You just find yourself putting on your running shoes. The rationale: the habit has crossed the automaticity line. It now requires almost zero willpower or conscious effort to perform. It is now a true, deep, and integrated part of your identity. This is the long game. This is the ultimate goal of the habit architect. Your mission is to take the most important, high-leverage behaviors for your life and to practice them with such disciplined consistency that they move from the difficult realm of conscious competence to the beautiful, effortless realm of unconscious competence. This is the architectural blueprint for a life of automatic success. Conclusion: you are the architect of your actions. You began this roadmap with a myth, the myth of willpower, the belief that your discipline was a reflection of your innate character. You saw your bad habits as a sign of a flawed personality and your inability to build good habits as a personal failing. That myth has now been fully deconstructed and replaced with an engineered reality. You now know that your habits are not a reflection of your character. They are a reflection of your systems. You are not undisciplined. You are simply running on old, buggy software. You are not a victim of your own impulses. You are the architect of your own actions. You have deconstructed the unbreakable, scientific laws of the habit loop. You have filled your toolkit with a complete system for both dismantling your vices and for engineering your virtues. You have the blueprints for making bad habits invisible and difficult, and for making good habits obvious, attractive, easy, and satisfying. Most importantly, you have moved beyond theory. You have a systematic plan for building an unbreakable daily practice, for tracking your progress, and for getting back on track when you inevitably fail. You have a framework for identifying the single keystone habit that will create a cascading, positive chain reaction throughout your entire life. You do not just have a desire to change. You have the complete architectural plans to engineer that change. The path from here is one of patient, consistent, and compassionate construction. It is the work of laying one small brick perfectly every single day. It is the work of becoming 1% better, compounded over time. You are no longer a passive passenger in your own life, driven by the whims of your old programming. You are the software engineer. You have the power to go into the code, to debug the flaws, and to systematically write a new, more powerful, and more aligned operating system for your life. You are the architect of your actions. Now go build. You have been listening to From Zero to Disciplined, the self-taught pro's roadmap to breaking bad habits, building good ones, and achieving any goal automatically. Written by Ron Gardinski. Narrated by Microsoft Azure. Production copyright 2025 by Ron Gardinski. Did this roadmap help you? Your journey is just beginning, but your feedback is crucial. If this book provided you with real-world value, the single best way to support this mission is to leave an honest review on Amazon. More by Ron Gardinski. Your roadmap continues. You can now master the art of building good habits. The next step is to apply that power to eliminate distractions and achieve your goals. Book recommendations include From Zero to Focused and From Zero to Automatic.